Hello and welcome to a trial live stream that I'm hope works okay. What I've been doing on YouTube is a new music and media channel, kind of highlight stuff as it turns 10 because I love celebrating anniversaries and rewatching stuff on their 10th, 20th anniversaries. And alongside that, I've recently put all of my music under one roof. It's been in a variety of cities up until recently. And I decided if there's ever a fire, because a bunch of people seem to be catching on fire recently, unfortunately, they're not catching on fire, but their homes, businesses are, and it's scary. So in the event that something would ever happen, I want to make sure I have a list of all of my stuff. And it's just also fun to just kind of keep that stuff logged. And so I started the other day over Memorial Weekend cataloging the top row, and I realized I had a lot of stories to tell. And stuff kept popping up and ideas, and I was begging Anna about it, whose home office is right behind me. And I said, you know what, I should let her work and I'll bug the internet. So that's what's happening as I figure out where the light's hitting my microphone. This looks good. So I'm going to go through the second row today and just talk about them. Maybe you know me and you miss me and want some stuff in your life, or maybe you're part of my YouTube community and you're look, I got nothing to do on a Tuesday afternoon. Let's see what he has. So today we're going to go through Anti-Flag, part of Anti-Flag, to part of Billy Talent that encompasses the second row of my homemade CD shelf. So I'll be using Discogs and their mobile app to scan barcodes and stuff, and we'll see how this works, and we'll talk about stuff. So first thing on the second shelf, Anti-Flag's American Spring, which is kind of the point where I've gotten really into Anti-Flag again. They have a very long career, big discography, but I feel like recently they've really come back hard, and I've really loved their American Spring and Fall albums. And I'm excited to see them. I had tickets to see them this summer. Everything shut down, so hopefully they're back on the road. They were playing a very tiny, like 150 club capacity room, and that would have been super cool, and sure enough, came and went with the postponement. So hopefully I'm able to do that and see him in a tiny club setting. So let's get this guy cataloged. And so far, so good. The app has found it. It's the American release. The thing about Discogs is it will tell you every version of an album. All the country variants, special editions, whether it's digipack like this or a jewel case. It's really cool to kind of see if you have a rare version or not, and this app does a pretty good job. So Anti-Flag, American Spring, so far so good. Sister album to that, American Fall, and I was surprised that we're not getting as many like Donald Trump-esque punk albums. I feel during the Bush era, so many good albums were coming out that were critical of the war in Iraq, of Bush himself, all that stuff, and this was kind of the first album, at least that I kind of grabbed, that you could totally tell was anti-Trump. Of course, the next album is without any speculation. It's totally anti-Trump. But let's get this guy on. And I think right now this is my favorite Anti-Flag album. It's really gets a lot of replay out of me, and I just feel like it really slaps, as the kids say. Okay, so this guy. So with Discogs again, I can scan the barcodes. It works for most of them. And then I hit save. I have different categories. So if I was following this under CDs, boom, it's in, it's logged. And then the newest Anti-Flag right here with good old Donald Trump X'd out on the front. 2020 Vision. First album I bought this year. It's pretty good. I mean, I feel like it's a little lacking in spots, but there are some good songs in here for sure. So again, I'm excited to hear these live during an election year, hopefully. But I think music's going to be shut down, until next year, which sucks. Okay, and band number 2, I have a nice holographic edition of Arcade Fire's Reflector. Were there more additions to this? I don't know. So let's find out if this one's fancy or not. The barcode is kind of small. Oh, it did register. I guess if you have this is how it looks. I'm seeing a unofficial Russian release as well as just one US. I love Arcade Fire. One of my favorite bands to see live. The fact that they have like 1,000 musicians on stage, I think is pretty cool. And for some reason, the earlier albums I picked up digitally, which I tend not to do, but there must have been a good sale. Remember when Amazon used to do the $5 CDs of a month? I feel like I got a bunch of Arcade Fire during that sale, and then that sparked my interest to start buying the current stuff. And I thought this album, which is in a nice plastic case, Everything Now, super cool. Songs are fantastic, and I really enjoyed the marketing for this. I mean, even looking at the back of the CD, it looks like, there's all these sponsors, even though those are just like different song titles. I mean, the track listing's that way, but it looks like it's just a bunch of like sponsors or film companies at the end of credits. But I thought everything we did about this album, from the music videos to the marketing, it was super cool. I believe they're writing new material, so whether it's a 2020 or 2021 release, I'm excited for Arcade Fire to come back into my life. Absolutely. Okay, this one, I don't know if it will come up. So my buddy Fletcher from my hometown of Mankato, Minnesota, has a great band, Arms for Elephants. It's a screamo band. I mean, it has a barcode. One would hope it will pop up here, but this might be something I have to manually do. I don't know what stores they were selling in. I know they're on Spotify. I think I bought this directly from him. And yeah, so the barcode's not working for this guy. So let me see if I can search for it. But I haven't been in touch with Fletcher in a while, but I hope he's still doing some new music projects, because this wasn't really half bad. I do like getting these limited releases, self-release stuff. And at least looking at it right now, I'm not seeing them on Discogs. So I might have to log it myself, and then you're welcome. You're on Discogs. So I'll just leave this one kind of out to do later. But check them out. Personal favorite show of mine, Arrested Development. Got the season 4 soundtrack. Say what you will about season 4. I did go back and rewatch it. Once they did like the remixed season, it was so much better. Being re-edited, so it wasn't character-based episodes, but just like a normal show. Definitely worth watching at this point. But I remember the disappointment when season 4 came out. I had a huge party at my house, and we were just like, okay, one episode, not that great. Let's keep trying. And like 3 in, we're like, let's go home. But now I like it. Season 5 was great. I was a little annoyed that it was in 2 parts and took forever. But I thought the ending was fine, and the first 3 seasons, I will watch those until the day I die. So funny. So smart. Okay, so this is a CD I've never actually listened to. Attic and Cellar is the band. This came with the Top Shelf Records. I think I bought something on Top Shelf, and they threw it in as a freebie. I don't know why I've never actually gave it a listen. I have no idea what it sounds like. And it's also not scanning. So we'll try typing it in. But I'm sure there's a story here. Maybe it's somebody's side project. I don't know. If you know about this band, let me know. Attic and Cellar. I'm not even sure if it's going to pop up. If I could type properly. Yeah, there it is. It's called 1929 by Attic and Cellar, Top Shelf Records. So I'm also going to leave this one out and just finally give it some time. I'm going to check it out. Because Top Shelf puts out a lot of good stuff, so hopefully this is the same. Oh, here's a throwback. So I don't even know how I found this song. I feel like there was a channel on Dish Network throughout the 2000s, the International Music Feed. I loved it. It had all of these great music videos from bands across the world. And this must have been on it, even though he's an American. because I wasn't watching MTV. Maybe it was on Fuse, but and I forget who he was from. This is solo, but it's Ashley Parker Angel. Does that name sound familiar to you? I think it was like O-Town. It's some boy band, but he put out his own album, and the single and opening track for that, "Let You Go." I really liked that song as a teenager, so I found this at Target. I bought this like during lunch in high school. Like I went to the mall on my break and bought it. Haven't listened to it in years. It's really only that one song that I probably had on repeat. I couldn't tell you any of these other songs, but I'm going to throw this on as well because it's pop, but I was into that back in the day, and I can hear it in my head right now. I like it. Okay, more teenage youth, but more on the angsty side. We got The Curse from Atreyu, a band that has come back, and I feel like they're better than they were, in the 2000s. They're the nicest guys on the planet.
I also love them.
And Anna behind me, she gives it a thumbs up. There's a super tiny barcode. I don't know if this will take or not. We get our sexy vampire on the front. I'm going to see if there's a bigger barcode. Yes, there is. Boom. So I feel like, was this a re-release? Or was this the original edition, but just a different cover on the slip? Well, this will tell me. Okay, so it was in 4 different versions. This has a DVD and a slipcase. So it does say re. Yeah, it's a reissue. Okay, so this came out in 2000. Nope, that's Europe. Okay, here we go. So in January 2005, they re-released it. And the thing about Victory Records, at least back in the day, obviously they have a stigma at this point, thanks to their CEO. But let me open this up. So the Victory Records, in the early days of MySpace, it was hard to find new bands. And Victory, my case is broken, but it's also 15 years old. So, but on the back, Victory Record DVDs, I would always load those up, and you would discover all new bands: Hawthorne Heights, Bayside, Silverstein, obscure bands that aren't around, like Action. So I loved buying Victory. They were a label where it didn't matter if I knew the band. If it said Victory, I would probably check it out. And then knowing those DVDs would help me find even more bands. So thank you for doing those. No one will ever release a DVD in 2020, but I liked having the bonus content back in the day. So we're going to keep going through the Atreyu, because I definitely loved them as a teen, and I still see them if they come through. They came through last summer on the Disrupt Festival, which is like a new Warped Tour like festival. Wasn't Atreyu on Disrupt? No, we saw them by themselves, or was it both? I don't know. I've seen them a couple of times since they got back together in like 2016. And this is there it goes. This is my favorite Atreyu album. I just grew up on yesterday. Still love the album art. Would not mind this at all on vinyl. Man on Fire. Also has the DVD inside. I checked for that so I have the right version. Bam. CD, DVD, US release. I remember the first day I bought this. I went home to my Windows XP computer, threw it into I want to say I threw it in a Windows Media Player, but at the same time I feel like maybe this was an enhanced CD. But what's weird is like the copyright and barcode are in the middle of the track list. So I don't see that too often. But I don't know. But I definitely remember the first time listening to this, and I was blown away. And they still haven't played the Thief, or the Theft. It's the Theft. I've said it wrong for forever. So waiting to hear that song live. It has not made it back on the times I've seen them. And then the next album I actually gave to my friend Jenna, which was Lead Sails, Paper Anchors. Hated that album at the time. I like it more now, but I feel like Becoming the Bull's the stupidest song that they've put out. And that's like one of the biggest songs, so I don't know. So I got rid of that one. I have a digital, but the CD's in good hands. So now I have their reunion CD, Long Live. So I was happy with this when it came out. It hasn't stuck with me since. I remember the title track, Long Live, was cool. They were all getting buried in coffins. But I should throw this one on as well, because I really can't tell you much more about it, which kind of sucks. And then they put out another album, and I never picked it up. And I have no excuse for that. I've seen them since they put it out. Should have picked it up at the show. I guess it's on my wish list, and thankfully Discogs lets you have a wish list. So I will add that soon. All right. Big influence on plenty of bands in my life at the drive-in. Got a super old release here, El Gran Orgo. Is that Spanish? Obviously it's Spanish. What does this mean?
I don't know what Orgo means, but it's the grand.
The Grand something. I don't know. Obviously, band from El Paso, Texas, that just blew up after they broke up, of course. But they've been back, and I was so happy to go to Coachella when they reunited. To see them and Refused, it was just a dream come true, and I was able to catch them at Lollapalooza that same year. Bunch of club shows since. And this barcode should be very easy to do, and it's not. So let's see about El Gran Orgo. And I've been trying to learn Spanish, and now I know a word that a Spanish speaker isn't sure what it even is. So that's cool. I believe I got this at Coachella, because I haven't seen this EP like ever in stores. So I'm glad to have this in my collection. It's not something I listen to, but for a purist and a full collector, you got to have everything you possibly can. Same respect here. The debut album, I never put this on.
By the way, Google Translate doesn't have that word either.
Google Translate does not have that word, Grango, or whatever I said. Orgo.
If you know.
So this guy is not wanting to scan either. This is an album, again, I feel like it's just for the diehard fans, and I guess I would be diehard, but I'm not when it comes to this album. I don't think any of these songs made it onto their compilation that came out, which was my introduction to the band, that we'll get to shortly. But again, glad to have it. It's in great condition. But as far as the good songs in their catalog, I don't think this is where you want to go. But it's a part of history. One of my favorite EPs and artwork for an EP of all time, the iconic At the Drive-In Boombox. I also have this on vinyl, which I will have to scan once all the CDs are done. That's a different section of the house. But I have an at the drive-in church somewhere that has this boombox, and people all the time love that band. So, but you know who doesn't love this band? The Barcode Scanner. So, this is another Spanish word. What does "vea" mean?
Vea?
Yeah.
Where is it, buddy?
It's on the front. It's V-A-Y-A.
Vaya.
Vaya. What is vaya?
Like go?
It just means go. That sounds exciting as I was hoping it was going to be. You got the Spanish speaker is Googling Spanish.
No, I'm not Googling.
She's not Googling Spanish. Okay. I have to move on, though. The CD's taking too much time.
But yeah, it just means like go.
It just means go. At the drive-ins, go. Not to be confused with No City Soundtracks, go. Okay, here's the one everyone knows. Relationship of Command. Perfect album. It is their masterpiece. And it really took off once they broke up, which was during this tour cycle in the early 2000s. But man, is it powerful. So hopefully we'll be seeing at the drive-in in the not too distant future, even if Jim Ward left, which is unfortunate. But we have Sparta again, so I'm very happy about that. So this is my introduction to At the Drive-In. The station is not operational. Lots of Hot Topic. Back in the day, it looks like Fearless Records got the catalog because a couple of these had Fearless on the back. And sometimes it's good to find a band through a compilation of greatest hits. You know, there are a few bands that's all I really needed. I didn't really need to go back and buy the full albums. I was happy with that collection. At the Drive-In obviously was not one of those. I needed it all. Still working on it. In Casino Out, I don't have a physical edition. I bought that on eMusic like a gazillion years ago. So that will be on the hunt. But actually, I do have a story on this real quick. So there's a DVD on this, like everything that was released in the 2000s. And has the music video for Invalid Litter Department. Is that what the song is called? Why am I confused? Yeah. Really powerful message, really powerful music video. And it was because of that song wasn't on the CD, I had to start hunting down, the rest of the stuff. So that's probably my favorite song from At the Drive-In. Very powerful stuff. And then, of course, the reunion album came out. I like it. I didn't get as hooked as I thought I would. It wasn't like on massive repeat like some albums are. But I think it was strong, and after decades of waiting, it was worth it, and the songs have come over well live. It's just as weird as you expect from our friends from Texas. Okay, here come the feels. So last week was the 3-year anniversary of Chris Cornell's passing. Terrible suicide. And my favorite Chris Cornell group is Audioslave. So I got the full set here. So here's the self-titled one, which is probably, I think, my favorite. I feel like the second album is probably the stronger of the three.
What are you talking about?
Oh, let me. I'm figuring it out. But obviously, this one hits hard. Probably has all the hits on it that people expect. And if you check out, well, I don't know if Rage Against the Machine would do it, but when there was Prophets of Rage, they would play Like a Stone during their sets, and the crowd would have to sing. And seeing that and witnessing that is one of the most powerful moments of my life with music. It was pretty emotional. So, love Audioslave. Love these albums. Out of Exile. I mean, again, Be Yourself. I just think that's just a beautiful song. Doesn't Remind Me is probably their most radio friendly song. The Worm is really cool. Man or Animal might be my favorite Audioslave song. It's definitely one of the heavier songs. Ooh, the Indonesia release. You don't see that too often. Ukraine release, Brazil, Thailand, New Zealand. Interesting. Then obviously during this album cycle, they went to Cuba and played Cuba for the first American band to do that in 50 years. We watched that DVD not too long ago, since that's in my movie collection. And then I tried to replicate Chris Cornell's facial hair for a couple of days. Very hard to do, and the maintenance is insane. It was like a little pencil mustache and how you shave up here and not. I don't know. I liked it, but too much maintenance for me. Okay, we're halfway through this shelf. We're halfway through the stream here. Leave comments. I think I can see comments if anyone's actually watching this. I don't know. So we're just having fun. I'm having fun. I'm entertaining myself. I'm still in quarantine. So last Audioslave album, Revelations, right here. I remember the promotional for this. Google Earth had just come out. You go to a special link, and they replaced Greenland, or maybe they just made up an island in the ocean. I don't know. But you could see the big Audioslave symbol on Google Earth. I mean, did it add anything? No. Did it get me to download Google Earth? Yes. So, I mean, it's cool. Again, it's kind of the one forgotten album. Even looking at the back, the original Fire, that was a single. Not my favorite song by any means. Looking at the rest, I can't really think. Sound of a Gun, I think, is a good one. But I definitely would need to revisit this. It's been quite a while. So that's Audioslave. Too bad I could never see them. But
Calling me.
I was able to interview the other three members of that band, Brad, Tom, and who's the bass player? Tim. That sounds right. So that was one of the coolest moments of my life. So at least in that way, I've shaken hands and I've shaken Chris Cornell's hand as I see it. What do we got here? Okay, getting into some metalcore because nothing says mid 2000s like metalcore. We have August Burns Red Messengers. I never picked up the debut album. I'm trying to think of what that name is. It's not sticking with me. It was obviously before Jake joined the band. And so I just said, you know what? I like Jake. I don't need to... Thrill Seeker. I never picked up Thrill Seeker. I may have listened to it once or twice on Spotify. But this one I'm going to have to find manually. And typing in Messengers was not smart. So let's try August Burns Red. Okay. Show releases. Messengers 2007. That's the DVD. Okay, I do not have the DVD. Or do I? Nope. Okay, this one looks correct. CD US. 2007. See, I would have thought this came out sooner than that. I guess they've been around less than I had imagined. Okay. Not a lot of stories about Messengers. I did not go to the 10-year tour. But I also have the Outtakes album for Messengers, which has all the B-sides. The back of this is exactly the same as the main version. Did not realize that. Okay. I probably listened to this once. I couldn't tell you anything else, and there's no track listing on the back. So I don't know what's on here. Bunch of demos and B-sides, I would imagine. From the Messenger sessions. Okay, Constellations is when I finally got on board with August Burns Red. This album rips. I think it's perfect. It doesn't have a bad song. I love the interludes. I love the instrumental tracks. I've been buying this at a Best Buy with my grandmother. Rest in peace. This is my favorite August Burns Red album. I didn't go to the 10-year tour, or maybe it got canceled. Was it this year? I don't remember. Either way, I missed it. Should have, could have, would have. Like, I've fallen out with that band. I don't really follow them anymore. And if you're not going to follow them, why go to the shows unless they're playing with people you want to see? I just feel like they do the same thing over and over. And sometimes that's good, but I'm a little sick of what they're doing. But they're still doing it. And I got the home DVD. And I have a shirt for this. It's weird to have a t-shirt for a live DVD. But I do. So, again, all the hits from the first three albums in one nice package. Doesn't tell me where. Whether it's in Philadelphia or California. I don't know. Okay. August Burns Red Leveler. I will say I always enjoy the illustrations on their album covers. They're very cool. But this was the point where I kept saying I'm buying the same album over and over again. So my fun for them was starting to wane, but I had some friends that liked them. I remember we saw them with Silverstein once at Caboose in Minneapolis. That was a really fun show. But I was starting to get a little long in the tooth. But that being said, I still bought two more albums. So we got Rescue and Restore, which is my favorite August Burns Red song, Beauty and Tragedy. I think it just has one of the best guitar solos on the planet. And that one took. Very nice. 2013 release. Very cool artwork. The one thing with this Discogs app, and maybe it's because my phone is, teeny tiny. It's a OG SE. Some of these buttons to click the version I have just aren't responsive. Okay, last one from these guys. Got a nice embossed cover for Found in Faraway Places. Really can't say I remember much from this album. And then they've put out two more since, and I've watched the videos, but I haven't had the urge to listen to them or pick them up myself. But they were doing a tour this year that I wanted to check out from who they were playing with. Okay, is this the deluxe edition? I don't think it is. Well, all I have is deluxe edition or box set. So, oh, here we go. Add original. Okay. Oh, there we go. Coke. Oh, well, this was put on a lot of different vinyl colors. Here we go. Normal CD. Okay. Here's a good throwback from Island Records. Island Records was my jam back in the day. Obviously known for Sum 41, which kind of got me into music. So I wanted a lot of other stuff from Island Records and skateboarding and Tony Hawk. You had to have some Autopilot Off. Make a Sound. Classic album. For whatever reason, it's one of those bands I haven't followed. And there's no reason not to. I love this album to death. And I just never got anything else. So I might have to start checking eBay or Discogs and picking up some other releases. These guys are great. Okay, that's a hot topic. Let's continue. We got some Avenged Sevenfold stuff. I was so into this band before they got famous, but once they got famous and became more like just like a normal rock band, I kind of fell out of it. But in the beginning, I was really into it. Thanks to Fuse, they were playing early Avenged Sevenfold videos. I got this one a little later down the line. I bought this in Seattle, Washington. I'm just happy to find it. I really like the song Streets. But other than that, it's too much noise. This is a full-on scream record. And obviously throughout the years, they've left that, which is fine. But these next two are really what do it for me. So we got Avenged Sevenfold, Awaken the Fallen, which was my introduction to the band. They were super popular down in the Los Angeles area. I put out some sweet videos for this. Obviously, get Holy Confessions. It's still a jam. The song went up on Rock Band 3, and it sounded terrible. Like I don't know what version they got, but it was not good. I remember that was a big letdown. I got this from dog sitting. My friend Phil paid me in CDs anytime I would dog sit for him. And at one point I asked for Waking the Fallen. So thank you, Phil, and your dog, whose name escapes me, unfortunately. Rest in doggy heaven. And then my favorite Avenged Sevenfold album, City of Evil, which is where most people found them. I remember they launched the video for Burn It Down on Yahoo Music. And I was watching it on my computer in my room, which was a Windows 98 machine, on a tiny little box, and I was blown away by how good that song was. So this was definitely a day one purchase. My mother found it, and I do not have a reissue. I have the original issue. My mom found it and she took it away due to parental advisory. She read some of the lyrics, and definitely the song "Trash and Scattered." Yeah, okay. Let's not have a 15-year-old listening to that. But I found it as an adult. She gave it back to me. I was 19, and she said, "Here you go, son. The 3 CDs I've taken away from you." So,
So cute.
but yeah, I love this album. I don't love the band anymore, but I love that album. I'm sorry that the barcodes take so long. It is finicky, but it's quicker than typing them. So this is the self-titled one, and the point where they were super huge, and I just didn't think it was really what I wanted from them anymore, so I just kind of fell off, the train. Never saw them live. I do regret that. Now I wouldn't, but back in the day, during Waking the Fallen, City of Evil, definitely. But this does have a cool song. It's a throwback. What's it called? A Little Piece of Heaven. It's a very 7 to 8 minute song. It's like a musical. It's super cool. I do like that one a lot. Okay, one more from them. Got the All Access DVD, because again, I like to buy the music DVDs. You don't see too many nowadays, or they're digital releases. But this was a documentary plus a live concert from like Long Beach. If I remember, I've watched it once. But my companion over here is a big fan of Avenged Sevenfold, so maybe she'll want to watch it
Yes.
in the near future.
Very nice.
Okay, Borat. Okay, down to the last 10. We got Baby Metal.
Yes.
I'm in love with Baby Metal. And it's weird because like nowadays, especially with Amazon, because they give you like instant MP3s when you buy a lot of stuff. I haven't even opened these because there's really no point. My car doesn't play CDs. I have iTunes Match, so my music collection's on all of my devices. So I just figure keep them nice because even I take really good care of my stuff. But you know, with moving and it's plastic on plastic, stuff gets scratched, stuff gets dinged. So might as well just keep them nice, and who knows? Maybe they'll be the biggest band in the world, and this will give me some money down the line. But that's not why I collect. Metal Resistance. Ooh, this one actually feels a little loose. I think the CD is loose in here, so maybe I will open this one and get the CD back in its proper place. We saw them, 2018, 2019, I think,
I think it was last year.
with Avatar. Super awesome show. It's really cool to see a bunch of Americans going nuts for Japanese lyrics. And then their newest one, Metal Galaxy, actually, I think is my favorite, actually, which surprises me. Got a lot of plays out of this when it came out last year. But again, no need to open these, apparently. So keep buying stuff on Amazon, which is pretty much how I get all my music nowadays. And they'll just send me free MP3s. High quality, so... Okay, we got 3 bands left. Might be a deep cut for some and a favorite for others. We got Bad Books, the side project of Manchester Orchestra and Kevin Devine. Very mellow music. They played Shaking Knees either in 2018 or 2019. I wish I would have gone. Because you really don't find a Bad Books tour nowadays. I think they did one when this one came out. Not so much for the other. I think they just have 2 albums. I have number 2 digital. But I'm happy to have that. I have an autographed poster in my poster archives. So, and as a huge Manchester Orchestra fan, I'm happy to have an Andy Hall autograph. And then one of my all-time favorite bands, we got all of the Bayside releases. This will take us a little moment to get through. And circling back to what I was saying about Victory Records, I found Bayside on the Hawthorne Heights Insides a Black and White DVD because there was like a 30-second ad for the Bayside self-titled album. And the song like hooked me. And I was like, I'm going to go find this based on a DVD advertisement. So that's pretty crazy. And they're one of my top 3 bands. And I love them to death. And I'm really sad that the 20th anniversary tour has been postponed. But they did say they will be back. They will reschedule for next year. The self-titled album, it's actually kind of one of those albums where you will see it like this a lot. It's like, which way is correct? But it is this way. Also bought this in Seattle, Washington on a trip. Because I could not find it anywhere where I was living at the time. That's one of my all-time favorite albums, and it's also not going to barcode, so let's type in Bayside. But obviously their biggest song, Devotion and Desire, is the lead track to this. So good. This band never disappoints. Well, they did once, in my opinion, but it's grown on me, and I'll get to that release. Okay, so that one's marked. Love it. Can't get enough of it. Bayside's a band that I also have everything on vinyl. And so when I'll have to have those down the road here. But I have to have them in both formats. And they like the really tiny barcodes. This is the acoustic CD and DVD after the unfortunate death of their drummer, John Beats, during a bus accident that we hear all too often about. Speaking of speaking of bus accidents, Ghost Inside had a really bad bus accident in Texas a few years ago. They're finally coming back next Friday with a new album. I could not be more excited for that. So, fingers crossed, and that's a good one. I got to get that pre-ordered. Okay, found this guy. You know what? I'm not a huge acoustic album fan, but like I do find myself coming back to this album again and again. The Smoking Popes cover of Megan it's so good. One of my favorite covers of all time. And they took a tragedy, and they did something positive with it. Because Anthony kept going on that tour. He wouldn't stop in honor of John. All right. A big favorite among Bayside fans, The Walking Wounded. I remember getting this album and not opening it right away for some reason until like Super Bowl Sunday or right around then. And I had a Applebee's to go order. So on the way to go get Applebee's, which was obviously going to be a quesadilla burger for me, I put this on for the first time. And I was like, why was I not listening to this whenever I actually picked it up? So it is just fantastic. It also came out in a gold edition that had a couple extra songs, I want to say, and a DVD. Never picked it up. I would like it, though, because I'm a completionist. But in the meantime, I will log the standard edition. Love this album to death. And for the longest time, this was my favorite album of theirs, which is kind of the black sheep in the Bayside catalog, but it's Shudder. I think it's just amazing. And for years and years and years, they would not play any of these songs live because they just didn't think people liked them. And it's one of my favorite releases. Boys, my all-time favorite Bayside song, which opens the track list. And Sean Harris from The Matches did the cover, so you can't go wrong. And they finally started playing a song or two on the last tour, and I was super thankful. I got an error in Discogs here. Let me try to add that one more time. There we go. So yeah, if you're a casual Bayside fan, give this album a shot. I think it's fantastic. But I'm also somebody that has a Bayside tattoo, so a little biased. Released on the same day as Shudder, we got the live album, Live in the Bayside Social Club, which is an album I still actually put on to this day. I really like how it sounds. I like the banter. I like the interaction. And I like that the barcode doesn't scan. But I got this at the Eden Prairie, Minnesota Best Buy the day it came out. And I probably listened to Shudder first, but I definitely listened to them both that day, and I was very happy. Back in 2008. It was a good time. Okay, what is going on here? It brought Shudder back up. I need the Social Club. But Basically, it's one of those bands. If you haven't listened to them or you only know the singles, like, nothing else compares on the Victory lineup. I'm going through the list right now, looking for this one. There it is. They have 2 EPs that are super old, and they've been sitting on my Amazon wish list for like a decade. I need to bite the bullet. I just need to get it. So that will be on my to-do list for the week. Excuse me. If the song's any good, probably not, but got to complete the collection. Okay, last 6 here. So this became my all-time favorite Bayside album. Killing Time. Love the artwork. It has the space. I really can't show it. There it is. The spaceman in the diner. Already Gone is just the sickest song on the planet. Followed up with Sick, 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 which is like I think my least favorite single they've put out. Like people love it. It's fun to scream Sick, 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 but I just always compare it to Queens of the Stone Age, Sick Sick Sick. And I think I like that song better. But what can you do? I love this album. I was breaking up with a girl at the time, and this got me through it. It's a lot of like anti-relationship, anti-girlfriend songs, and I just like the angry finger point in the car, and I would be singing to her even if she wasn't anywhere near me. But we're friends now, so it's all good. But music's a great way to get over heartbreak. Ooh, little guy here. This was also a weird thing. Back in the late 2000s, you'd release CDs in like these little tiny cardboard sleeves. Like digipacks are great, and then you have these little tiny things. It's a cost-saving measure. No one was buying music as much, but I wish they didn't come in the stuff. We got Bayside Covers, Volume 1. Got a lot of play out of this back in the day. This was a 2012 release covering songs like Runaway, Be My Baby, Wild Night, of course, Moving Out, little Billy Joel. I wish my barcode would focus. Bayside's a tricky band to catalog, it seems. This is a fun release. They never did a volume 2 of covers. They did a volume 2 for acoustic. But yeah, I wish they would. Maybe they will. They got the time off now. So fun little EP. Got it. Okay. Bayside is a cult. Obviously, that's what people say. So it makes sense. Put an album called Cult. And I love this album artwork because it uses symbols from all the previous releases, which will not show up in this stream. But if you have the album, take a look. They're all represented there. And my barcode scanner has just given up, it seems. But this is a hard release for me. It came out right before my cat died. And my cat got sick. We didn't really know what was going on. His name is Mr. Socks. And 14 years old, thought he was constipated. So it happened on the weekend. We couldn't get in until like, a weekday or something. And I took him to the vet by myself and had this album on in the car because it was pretty new. And I didn't realize I was taking my cat to his death because he had a bladder infection. He was basically being poisoned for the past 3 days. And we just decided it was better to, calm down. And I could not listen to this album for years after because it reminded me of that day and that image in my head. But I've gotten over it. I've put it on in his honor. So again, I can't say I love this album because I haven't given it a lot of time because of those memories. But I'm sure it's a good one. But I just can't really come around to it a whole lot. I also have that in the white edition, but on vinyl, which is like the reissue of that. Bayside Vacancy, which I did not like at all when it came out. I was really bummed. But in the years, it's grown on me for sure. Mary is a beautiful song. Not Fair, Pretty Vacant. Rumspringa, that's an interesting one. So maybe Tennessee. I think that's my favorite song on the album. So I love it now, but I definitely didn't know what to think when it came out. But unlike Vacancy, I loved Interrobang instantly. They stealth released this. They announced it 2 weeks before. And I think it's actually smart because it catches you off guard. You want to just buy it because it's out. Right now there's a rumor that Metroid Prime's coming to Switch, and they just put that out today. People would buy it like crazy. Do I want to spend $60 on Metroid? No, but self-release it, okay. You got my attention. So I think I'm 0 for 5 here for barcode scanning for Bayside, which kind of sucks. But yeah, Interrobang came out. I listened to it a ton. That's great. So that came out last year. And then I think it just leaves the acoustic. But do I have that on CD? That's the question. I don't. Was that a digital release? Because I have it on vinyl, but maybe it never came to CD. I will look into that as somebody that wants a full set. But they did put out an acoustic volume 2. Okay, last band for the day. 2 more. Another all-time favorite, and proves that Toronto is the music mecca of the world. Billy Talent, number 1, self-titled. Perfect album. So much rage, so much emotion. I have the American version. I didn't know maybe I had a... Actually, I don't see an American version, so I probably do have a Canadian version. I don't know how to tell that. But anyway, I found Billy Talent back in the days of Kazaa, when I realized that music could sound shitty. And I downloaded a Lost Prophets song. It turned out to be Try Honesty. So, happy accident. Never looked back and stopped using Kazaa pretty quick. So, love this album. It's a masterpiece. But many would argue the follow-up, Billy Talent 2, is the pinnacle. It's hard to say. I'm torn between the two, to be honest. But this one is Canadian. I remember it not being available anywhere when it came out, so I had to import it from Canada. Oh, this rang up as the promotional copy, but I know that can't be, except it's also only showing once. So maybe this box only has... Oh, okay, here's more. That was weird. CD album, this is the Digipack. It came with a bonus CD that I'm realizing is on shelf 3. So that will be tomorrow's stream. But, yeah. So, that is my second shelf of music. Thank you for tuning in and quickly tuning out. And if you are still watching this, I will be trying to do this every day at 3 for as long as it takes. I think I have enough music shelves to do like 3 weeks.
Years.
And we'll just see. I'm having fun talking to myself. So if you like it, leave a comment and come back tomorrow. I'm going to try to do this at 3 o'clock Eastern every day. I realize it's taking me 70 minutes to do a shelf. Longer than I thought. I'm a gabber. So thank you for watching. And listen to some tunes. I recommend Billy Talent too. Throw it on Spotify. So take care.